Mushroom Wonderland.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Aaron Hilliard from Mushroom Wonderland. If you're new to this channel, I'm the vice president of the local Mycological Society, and I've just been a mushroom geek my whole life. Started this channel, and we talk about wild mushrooms. And today it's late September here in Washington State, and it hasn't rained in a long time, but that's never going to stop me from looking. So today I'm actually out looking for lobster mushrooms, whether they be good ones to eat because they are a choice edible, but when they get past their prime, they're also good for using to dye fabrics with. So personally, I don't do much fabric dyeing, but I have a lot of friends around the mycological world that do. And there's workshops offered by a gal named Melissa Allen. You can look up mycopigments.com, and she'll take you on a weekend workshop on how to dye protein fabric like wool and silk with mushrooms. And so today we're going to go out looking for lobster mushrooms here in the dead end of summer, and hopefully we'll get lucky. So thanks for joining. Let's go ahead into the conifer woods here in Port Orchard, Washington. I'm just walking down this beautiful trail in Western Washington. I see this thing growing right alongside the trail. It's a beautiful dyeing mushroom. So people use this to dye protein fabrics like wool and silk. This one is known as the velvet-footed pax. Look at this. It's like velvet on its foot. That's why they would call it that. And then pax comes from the genus that it used to be in, Paxillus, but now it's actually in Tapenilla. So this is Tapenilla, Tapenilla atrotomentosa, not to be confused with Tapenilla, like the false woolly chanterelle. But this one can be used for dyeing. People really like these mushrooms, so I'm going to take it home and add it to my dyeing mushrooms collection, which is just a pile of mushrooms in the back of my garage that are drying out on some tote lids. So there you go. I found a couple of chunky golden chanterelles. So these are Pacific golden chanterelles just growing on the side of the trail. Very chunky little guys. Are going to take some cleaning up, but choice edibles. And there's a lot of these to be found right now. And then right here next to the trail, I see this funny thing kind of popping up, and it's very obvious to me. Might not be to everybody, but this is called Hypomyces lactiflorum, or the lobster mushroom. This one's just riddled with worms and bugs and things like that. But this also is a good dyeing mushroom. So for dyeing fabric, and mainly like protein fabrics like wool and silk, they really take the dye from a mushroom really well. And so a lobster can make a beautiful red or magenta or even kind of purplish color if you add the right mordant. So again, this one's going to go in my pile of dyeing mushrooms, and woo! It smells like a dying mushroom, all right. It smells dead. It smells bad. But, you know, when I find a spot like this, I'm going to mark this in my mental GPS, or you can actually mark it in your actual GPS if you want to, because these mushrooms are mycorrhizal. These are growing in association with some of these trees and plants around here. And so every year they're going to grow back in the same area. I'm also looking for little shrumps, little lumps in the forest floor that might clue me in to where more of these are. I just saw another lump. I upturned it, and here we got this dark little purple bit, another lobster mushroom. So we found a new patch of lobster mushrooms. Pretty nasty, but look at the color on that thing. So I'm going to put this in my pile of dyeing mushrooms, and this is actually two different mushrooms. When this is young, really, really good edible mushroom. Right now it's way past its prime for eating, but still a good dyeing mushroom. So collect your old lobsters even. It's not going to hurt the environment. This thing has already let a million spores out. So I'm going to cover up those little holes, because there's a chance that one of the people coming walking along on this trail are kind of know something about mushrooms, and they're going to see those spots, and they're going to remember this spot too as a lobster mushroom spot. So I'll remember this year. It is late September, and although it hasn't rained at all, these lobster mushrooms still were able to grow even without the moisture. We're waiting on rain for most of the mushrooms to come popping up, but it hasn't stopped chanterelles and it hasn't stopped lobster mushrooms. So this area, September next year, I'm definitely going to come a little bit earlier and hopefully find some of these lobsters that are good enough to eat. But I got my little foraging sack. It's a net bag. So I'm carrying these mushrooms. They're dropping more spores on the forest floor. And me and Gunnar are going to keep on walking, keep on looking. But there's still definitely mushrooms to be found out here. I've only been walking for like 6 minutes on this trail, and I found 3 species of mushrooms, all of them useful to humans. So, hey, if you like this kind of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit that like button and leave a positive comment. And I'm going to keep these kind of videos coming because, you know, I always found it interesting. I would walk down trails and I'd see wild mushrooms growing on the side of the trail. And I'd wonder, what is that? I wonder what kind of mushroom that is. So as I started to educate myself, this world of mycology, this world of wild mushrooms, mycology is the science of mushrooms and fungus, but it just keeps going deeper and deeper. I'm getting into microscopy, doing microscope stuff, traveling around to mushroom festivals all over. So, and it is just such a good excuse to come out and walk in the forest. So come join me on more walks here on Mushroom Wonderland. Again, my name is Aaron Hilliard. I am the vice president of the local Mycological Society. Been doing this ever since I was a kid, really, but this YouTube endeavor is somewhat new still, so glad to have you aboard. Can't wait to see you on more videos. What are you doing, man? This is cool. It's like a bog. Look at this thing growing on the side of the tree. It's pretty big. What the heck kind of mushrooms are this big this time of year? Little worm on there. Let me pick one of these. Let me show you. Oh, it's moist. Tapenilla. So this is now known as the Tapenilla atrotomentosa, or atrotomentosa, whatever way you want to say it. Look, it's got a slightly enrolled margin right there. And then these gills, they run down all the way to that little velvety spot. So they are kind of pleurotoid, meaning they do look like a pleurotus or an oyster mushroom, the way they're growing like this. And but they're awfully ugly, and the top is just kind of brown, and then you can see this kind of cloudy color here. This is actually their spores. Dropped a lot of spores, so this is a good little flush of velvet-footed paxillus, or the velvet-footed pax. So I'm going to collect these because they make beautiful colors, I guess. Probably brown and yellow or something. I don't know. I'll put a little title down there if I'm wrong, but yeah, the velvet-footed pax growing this time of year, pretty common this time of year here in the PNW. So here, my dog, he's on to something else. But yeah, I'm gonna take these in the basket, and guess what? It's these actually are edible, even though they're not yummy at all. But they don't hurt chanterelles to have them next to them. Just saying. You can even have poisonous mushrooms next to your good ones in the same basket. The spores aren't poisonous, so there you go. All going in the same basket. I'm just not going to eat these ones. What you doing, boy? Just sniffing around. I wish he would find me some mushrooms, but he's looking for animal pee or something. Weirdo. All right, came to another spot where I'm looking down and I see this bright orange color popping out. You see this right down here? Let me flip this camera for you real quick. See that bright orange popping out of the dirt down here? Oh, ooh-wee. There it is. Old lobster mushroom. And what kind of clued me in is over there I saw a little chunk of one, extra spored out. So even when they're all spored out like that and white, still usable for dyeing. And these go into the basket. These go into the bag. Okay, it's a dyeing mushroom kind of day. Look at right here, popping up. Oh man, that was a big boy. So finding these new spots a little bit late. Look at how bright that is, man. So these make awesome dying mushrooms. So we're gonna take them and just stockpile them, make a pile of them and let them dry out. Good stuff. Areas like this where I slow down, I'm gonna look for more of that bright orange popping out of the ground, more and more. And yeah, these are all like too old to eat. But this is what you're looking for when you're looking for dying mushrooms. Look at that. See it popping out? How obvious is that? Wouldn't you be curious if you're walking by and you're like, what in the heck is that? Yeah, it's a mushroom. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So we're filling this bag up with all these lobster mushrooms, which is just awesome. Another thing to look out for is the shrimps. So that's like a kind of a lump in the ground that looks a little unusual or out of place. Oh boy, look at right down here. Dang. Whoa, beautiful. That was amazing at one point. Look at this lobster mushroom. So it's actually two different mushrooms. It's a host mushroom and then a parasite that grows on it called Hypomyces lactiflorum. All that white down there is actually spores. They're spindle-shaped spores. Pretty neat. It's actually the spores of the parasite. So I'm gonna save that. Right down here, you see more and more. If they're really rotten, I'll probably leave them. Oh my goodness, look at this. So yeah, a little irregular lump that I call a shrimp is producing lots of lobster mushrooms. Look at this. So these look nasty. They smell horrible. But I tell you what, you take these and dry them. If you're a part of a mushroom club, there's going to be people around you that like the dyer's mushrooms. So the lobster mushrooms, definitely good dyer's mushrooms. Whoa, look back here. Another big boy. Huge, huge lobbies. Big, huge lobster mushrooms. So, man, it's really swampy right down here. They love this. So, my bag is like getting really full of lobster mushrooms. That's crazy. Found a really good lobster spot here, I guess. So they're easy to spot. They're so bright. So look at all these laying right here next to the side of the trail. Clearly somebody else already found these and threw them off to the side because they're no good to eat. But they probably weren't into dying with mushrooms. So there's another one. Oops. Oh, it's okay even if it's still in chunks. Still okay for dying. But man, we are in the lobster spot. So awesome. Still a lot of mushrooms to be found out here, people. They really like this kind of environment, habitat. I hope you're paying attention to the surrounding plants and foliage and stuff. I'm out here hunting these lobsters. I'm in perfect lobster mushroom habitat, but also finding these golden chanterelles popping up all over in the same kind of area. Salal, a little bit of wild blackberry and huckleberry, a lot of Douglas fir around here. But you know, for late summer, it's pretty cool to be finding all of these different mushrooms, all useful. And amazed to find, you know, look at this. We're not even really next to a conifer. It's quite a ways to the nearest conifer, and we got golden chanterelles growing all over the place here. I just saw a cute little froggy, but look at that. Pins everywhere of the chanterelles. So hit an awesome chanterelle spot right next to the lobster spot. So this is what it takes, folks. Just go out there and get hiking out into the woods near you, and you just start discovering things. And I remember spots like this. I'll be back next year. I had no idea that this spot was so good for lobsters and chanterelles. Very, very cool. Look at these beautiful mushrooms I'm finding out here. These are known as Chanterelles formosus, or the Pacific golden chanterelle, and they're growing out here in the wild right now in the PNW despite there being no rain. So these are a choice edible. They fetch a lot of money in the market, but these ones are just going home to the dinner table. It's like a beautiful bouquet to give your wife. I've recently come into a patch that I was unfamiliar with, so this is good news because in the fall these are going to grow back in the same place, but they're going to be just huge. But this is clearly some ultra healthy mycelium here. Look at how thick these guys are, even without the rain. So beautiful specimens. So these are probably what we call a white chanterelle. It's kind of hard to tell because they do have a bit of color to them. But look at those. See that? These are the whites. And there's a nice patch of them through here. So these guys are really nice and fresh. What's that up in here? Oh, looking kind of sad. There we go. These ones are decidedly gold compared to those other ones. Look at that. They're pretty, but you see, I'm mainly just staying on the trail here. Wonderful walk in the woods, finding some cool mushrooms like chanterelles and dying mushrooms. So definitely going to take those home. You can preserve the dying mushrooms just by drying them out. And you want them like really, really dry, like potato chip crisp, so they don't grow green mold on them. And then you can use them to dye fabric whenever. Look right here on the end of this log, very bizarre looking growth. This is it's actually not a fungus, it's a slime mold known as Fuglioseptica, or dog's vomit slime mold. Because I guess some people's dogs make vomit that look like that. I don't know, man. If your dog making vomit that looks like that, I feel sorry for you. So look at this. I got a few pounds of lobster mushrooms. Very, very bright orange. These are definitely going to be awesome to dry out and just keep stockpiling them. And someday, you're going to go down to the craft store, buy yourself a bunch of wool, and you can dye it, even if you don't knit or whatever. Just kind of cool process to do, you know. If you're running out of mushroom related things to do, you know, we always got another idea. But they're out here, so get out there. You don't got to wait for the rains. There are still useful mushrooms in the forest of the PNW. So like I said, when I get home, I just take these to the back corner of my garage. I'm going to spread them out here on the top of this tote and let them just be forgot about, and they dry out. And I'm going to get these chanterelles out of here. And it's okay to have edible mushrooms in with your old ones. Just clean them off. Right here I have Pisolithus tinctaris, the dead man's foot, another dying mushroom. Here is the Tapenilla, atrotomentosa. And right here are some other lobster mushrooms that have already dried out. So I'm just collecting dying mushrooms. So, much love, everyone. See you on the next episode. Peace out.